Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Needle, and in this video I'm going to be explaining for you guys in detail how you can outsmart your opponents and overall beat those sweaty players that we always seem to find in our lobbies. I don't know about you guys, but at least for me, there's always at least one soccer skin, one rare skin like a codename elf, like a renegade raider, that's always just up in my face playing super aggressive. So in this video we will be discussing how you can use low ground to your advantage, how you can read and counter your opponent, and I'll just overall explain some things you guys can do to be more prepared to fight these types of players who are really aggressive and are very skilled players. Sweats are who we consider to be very aggressive players who really take the game too serious, meaning they will try their hardest to do whatever they can to get the kill and send you back to the lobby. Fighting these players can often be very challenging as they can pressure you to, oftentimes play in more passive while they capitalize and set on high ground. Their aggressive playstyle is sure to make someone hesitant and sometimes scared, especially if you play this game casually, so gotta make sure we're giving you guys the right tips to make sure you're prepared when you run into these sweaty aggressive players. I feel like this is a perfect topic to cover. Knowing the current state of the game, you are sure to come across these sweaty players every game you play, so knowing how to counter and combat these players is necessary if you guys don't want to see the loading screen every time and you want to stay in the game to get the win. Before we get right to the video though, if you guys are new here or don't know much about my channel, I post educational tips, tricks, and guides just overall to help you guys improve your Fortnite experience. So if you guys enjoy this content at all, be sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications for more daily content. Without further ado, let's get right into it. To start off, I'm going to be explaining in detail what and who sweats are. The term sweat has been used at large by a majority of the Fortnite community to talk about players who use complex and difficult strategies to take down opposing players even when they don't even need to. So these are players that try too hard to show off their skills in fights, even against casual and new players who sometimes, they can't even build a 1x1, they're just trying to flex their skills, right? They don't care as long as the message gets across that they are pretty good and that they're mechanically skilled, that's all they care about. And just to give some context of where the term sweat originates from, sweat literally means that somebody is trying so hard in a fight, trying so hard to get that kill and just look flashy, that they're literally sweating by the time that they got the kill. So keep in mind these players are going to be everywhere nowadays in Fortnite with the skill gap changing and getting even bigger, and it's at the point where not everyone has the time to go play creative 4 hours a day, or even just play the game for 2-3 hours a day. So it's going to be important to understand how you need to fight these opponents and how to even just recognize them to begin with. You will know that you've ran into a sweat if you see the opposing player building complex structures like crazy ramp rushes, or just weird and fast combinations of double ramps, pyramids, and just wall edits in general. Or if someone's especially trying to trap you inside a cube, you know you've ran into a sweat. To start off, I'm going to be explaining to you guys the importance of low ground when facing these kinds of players, and how you can use it to your advantage to quickly get off shots without your opponent realizing it. Typically, these sweats you find in your lobbies think that high ground is the best thing that they can get. If you can learn to play from the low ground, it is oftentimes going to be your only option too, so you can easily get some high damage shots that can make your opponent very hesitant on their next move. The best way I find you can play from the low ground is by finding small angles where the enemy isn't looking to get a shot off. So this is generally when they're looking to continue to build up or just move around. Find those small angles and kind of pre-aim or pre-fire corners to get ready for them to walk by, and when they walk by you'll have that shot lined up. This has worked for me in so many cases. I feel it is just too important not to learn. And the best way to learn this is obviously one, through practice. And I think the best way to practice is by hopping into creative and just 1v1ing your friends if you have the chance. But when you play, try to play to give up high ground. Try to get in your box and really peek angles and edit out just to find where they're at and see where they're moving to. Force yourself to take these shots, and if you perfect it, high ground for your opponent would basically be useless if you could hit these kind of crazier shots from low ground. Low ground peak shots are one of the best ways that you can easily counter sweats if you see them trying to capitalize and really set on high ground. So a good example is if your opponent is expecting you to run up a ramp, let's say you start ramping out and they're just expecting you to do it, you could fake the ramp out but then sit on the ramp instead and then look to jump up and just get a shot off. They'll generally just be expecting you to build up, so you'll kind of catch them off guard, and maybe you can deal a 77 shot with the combat shotgun and then get a little bit of health advantage and make them come down and make the fight a little bit more fair. Another really good way that you can get some damage off on your opponent without them realizing is just kind of tracking their movement. And what I mean by this is overall predicting what kind of movement they're doing. So if you see they're looking to build up a lot or do 90s a lot, kind of take that into consideration and realize that they're probably going to whip this move out, and you can catch them off guard when they start doing it. So for example, let's say you're stuck on a 1x1 and your opponent is trying to take every one of your walls with whatever weapon, if it's a heavy snipe or they're just spraying out your walls. If you see them stop for even 1 second reload, pull out your pickaxe, or if they do anything, don't be afraid just to edit and take the shot. They will most likely be caught off guard by your sudden move, causing them to panic. And if you think about it, if they're standing there trying to take your wall out, spraying every bullet in their clip, once you start countering it a little bit, they're going to obviously be shook up because they were playing pretty aggressive. So when you take that move back, it's going to catch them a little bit off guard and kind of bring them back to reality. And the best tip I can give you guys for playing on low ground, especially if you're playing against 1 or 2 people, if you're doing solo squads, isn't going to be key, is just going to be throwing down a lot of builds and doing really unpredictable stuff. So if you start spam building walls or cones above you, just having those builds around you and knowing that those are your edits are going to help you a ton. So if you can do pretty crazy and unpredictable movement, it's going to be hard for your opponent to track you and understand where you're going. So a good way to think about it is, if you don't even know where you're going, how is your opponent going to know? So being able to confuse them and take some weirder angles and just have some edits that you're familiar with is going to help you in a fight, especially against 1 or 2 or more opponents. And to give a specific example of what you can do to use kind of crazy and unpredictable movement like I've been saying, so for example, if you see your sweaty opponent ramping up, if you place a bunch of cones everywhere just on top of him, wherever it be, they will be forced just to build out and go somewhere that can be pretty awkward for them. So if you think about it, if you're spam building cones, overall you're not going to be able to go anywhere, and they're going to have to box up and just be in a really weird spot, and you're going to have that high ground. So doing stuff like that can be really good. So if you can capitalize off of that and you know that you've hit your opponent with a cone, you can fully initialize the fight where you can start on high ground and your opponent will be on low ground. So I think this is crucial for getting your opponent just to back off in general. It's just being able to spam build cones or something just to catch them off guard, and then from there you can kind of take your height, reassess where you're at, and start damaging some shots from above. Another topic I want to cover is overall just third partying and how you can really use third party to your advantage. And just to give a brief explanation for anybody that doesn't know what third partying is, it's just when you are fighting one person, it's just a one-on-one fight, and then that other person comes in and tries to get in, obviously being the third party here. So just to cover that up if somebody didn't know what that was. So I just want to talk about some things you can do if you're being absolutely destroyed in a gunfight, and sometimes you really just don't have a chance of surviving. If they've already had a good, nice, decent shotgun shot, or if you got sniped or whatever it may be, you need to box up and kind of just let time work itself here. So sometimes getting someone to third party is the best option. So whether you have to turbo build walls and just wait for somebody to come by, it might really be the best option. So the best way I like to think of is, if you can just sit there, they're trying to spray your 1x1 down and you have nice enough ping, just sit there and turbo build walls, and overall if they're spraying for 30 seconds, 40 seconds, just overall being a psycho trying to get in your 1x1, somebody nearby kind of has to hear, right? Somebody nearby has to use a wind tunnel, whatever it may be, to get there and trying to see what's going on, and so they can third party the fight. Sometimes boxing up like that really is your best option, kind of letting the fight diffuse itself, and then using that time when they're fighting somebody else to get your heal off and kind of reassess where you're at. And when somebody starts third partying, it really just makes the first in the original fight you were in just pretty unfair. Whether it's just being low on mats, ammo, whatever it may be, you're going to be low on resource if somebody's really trying to push you in. So having that third party come by can either really help you or really hurt you. So one way I like to think of it is, let that third party come in and fight the sweat, fight whoever you were just fighting, and then use that time that you could have to obviously heal, like I've said, and then use that to go regain height, and then try to be the third party to the third party, if that makes sense. So let the other guy come in and start fighting the sweat, and then use that time to heal, and then come back out and try to finish the fight off and get those 2 kills. So this is a really good way. So like I said, if you see 2 sweats fighting, sometimes being that third party yourself isn't a bad idea. Just so you know, they're going to be low on mats, low on health, just because they've been fighting. Use that time to get some shots off on those players and make them weaker, so you can overall just go eliminate them with a shotgun or whatever it may be. And to give a recap for everything, making unpredictable movements or plays, and overall just capitalizing on signs that your sweaty opponent is caught off guard, is going to be the best way that you can eliminate them. Think about it like this: a sweat is always going to want to be on height and always in control of the fight. So if you ever get that 1 second where they're trying to, back up and they're not going to be as aggressive, use that to your advantage and be the aggressive player. Then go start W keying them and trying to get in their box. So being able to counter these players in the current state of the game is almost necessary to win any kind of fight or to win any kind of game. So hopefully these tips I provided will help you guys and hopefully get you guys some wins in the future here. If you guys could do me a big favor and leave in the comments down below some new video ideas you guys have for me, because I feel like we had to run out of tip idea videos. I haven't done this video yet, so I wanted to make this one how to kill sweats. But overall, just what are some videos you guys want to see from me? Do you want more controller settings? Do you want me to compare pro player controller settings to see what they use? Let me know down in the comments. And also want to let you guys know I will be streaming hopefully full-time here soon in the near future. I actually just ordered an internal capture card. I got to set that up, and it's overall just going to help with the quality of the streams. I'm sure if you guys have been been to my streams in the past, you guys know it's either lagging or it doesn't last very long due to the bitrate just kind of pooping out on me. So constant streams will be coming soon. I'm not going to say full time yet, but I will release a schedule when I get everything set up. So something to keep in mind, but please let me know down in the comments what other video ideas you guys want to see. I can do story times. You guys want to hear me talk? Just let me know. I can do whatever. If you found these tips and this guide in general useful at all, go make sure to leave a like on the video and go leave a comment as well. Let me know what your favorite tip was that you're going to try to use and implement when you're fighting a sweat the next time, whether it's third partying or just using a little bit crazier of movement. Let me know what you're going to try to do. And like I said, if you enjoy the content that I do and post on my channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications for more frequent uploads. Anyway, guys, it's been your boy Needle, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!